Now listen to this. It's craziness.
You know, my last question for him, just I asked him, "You serious? You serious?" Yeah, I'm serious. Okay, man. I respect box. I respect everybody. I respect everybody. Athletes. I respect everybody's sport. You know, this is sport for me first. Hey man, I'm going to home. Just tell your parents, just hi. I come back. Thank you.
What is? Like, listen. Like, I understand, you know, like trash talking a sport, like, you know, but how can you not take that as like a threat? You know, Gennady Golovkin, 32-0 with 28 KOs, is going to be taking on Martin Murray of the UK. Martin Murray, what is he? 29-1-1 with 12 KOs, I think. Long story short, Martin Murray is not a bum. I'm getting a lot of chatter over here saying Martin Murray's the bum. Golovkin's going to just knock him out. No, that is not the case. Martin Murray can be stopped. Has he ever been stopped before? No. The only way Martin Murray can be stopped is put it this way, he's a slow starter. We can say that he's somewhat predictable, but he can win if he continues to move around. He has some boxing ability, and for the most part, he can punch at a pretty high percentage. Golovkin, don't get me wrong, Golovkin is, when you're watching him, if you're looking at his face, watching him in high definition, he always seems to know exactly what he's doing when he threw that perfect, better than Marcos Maidana crazy right hand. You know, it wasn't a straight, it was a hook, but it almost looked like his shoulder had to dislocate to throw it. That's how I'm dead serious. Because if you watch it, I'm like, how did he get that crazy angle? Punching people all in the head like that. And poor old Daniel Gill. Poor old Daniel Gill. It was a bad year for Australian boxing, but then Anthony Mundine brought it back. But poor old Daniel Gill got punched. Like, poor old Daniel Gill gave Golovkin his best punch, but at the same time, took Golovkin's punch straight to the flank. It's no better way to describe it as, ladies and gentlemen, follow me. Here on T Street Controversy Live, February 11th, 2015, Daniel Gill got punched dead in, he got punched right in the face. So it's like punching you like right here, like in your nose, like right in the face. So he goes down, put his hands in the back of the air and lay down, he like, nah, get up. He bounced back on the ropes. Ref is like, oh yeah, you done. You know what I mean? Valiant effort. But what did he show us is that even in that short period of time, movement. Gabriel Rosado showed us a little bit too. Movement is the way you beat Golovkin. You gotta move him. I mean, you gotta move with him, and you gotta try to outthrow him. But just know that when he's throwing, he's got a very ridiculously good power jab. So you gotta understand that when he's throwing, his punches most likely will connect. You know, closer to the 35 to 50, 55%, some old crazy numbers because he used to getting people out of there. But at the same time, those punches, even if it is the jab, he's throwing with authority. So Martin Murray, I look at it like this. Martin Murray has been 12 rounds numerous times. Gennady Golovkin has not ever been 12 rounds. In fact, he's been only 10 rounds. And the last time he was in an 8-round fight was, when did Curtis Stevens get knocked out? Was it 7th or 8th? Because I know before that, when did he stop Kasim? I'm trying to remember. I don't want to confuse myself. But long story short, the fight you should watch is when he fought Kasim Oman in his last 10th round fight, if not before that, the Curtis Stevens fight, and the last 9 round fight before that. You know, I know I may be confusing you a little bit, but it all makes sense. You know, just go look at his record and, you know, you'll see what I mean. And what I'm saying is, if you can take him to the distance, you know, we know that he's a very powerful dude. We did see him slowing down a bit in the Gabriel Rosado fight. Also, if you look at his face, even though he painted the ring with Gabriel Rosado's blood, if you look at Golovkin's face at the end of that fight, you know, I mean, he did do some damage. He was all puffed up. And Golovkin, from what I see, does not have the greatest defense. Yes, he's good, but more so his offense is his defense, because he beats his guys to the point where they're scared to confront him, you know, to punch him and all that type of stuff, which is really what you should do. You know, you should keep moving on him. So, for example, the winner of Martin Murray versus and Gennady Golovkin, the WBA Super World Championship, Danny Jacobs has the WBA regular, whatever that is. You know, remember they got 2 belts, and then they got an interim belt too. So the winner will also be the #1 contender, you know, because you have Golovkin, who's the WBC silver 160-pound champion, meaning, you know, basically #1. No, he's the interim. He's the interim 160-pound champion. Martin Murray is the formerly the WBC silver champion, you know, and the reason why he's not that no more because he's fighting Golovkin, and the winner of the Golovkin Martin Murray fight goes on to fight Miguel Cotto and or Timothy Bradley, Brandon Rios, or whoever he's going to fight. It's a crazy story. I did that video earlier. But after that, then you got Turiano Johnson. Remember, he was whooping on Curtis Stevens before Curtis Stevens stopped him, and he's actually pretty good. So we're not going to go back that far. We're going to stick with what's right there. And I'm asking myself, well, can a Miguel Cotto beat a Martin Murray or a Gennady Golovkin? And me personally, see, we don't. I'm sorry. Miguel Cotto was 2-2 in his last 4 fights, and we don't really know who he is at 160 pounds. Now, you know that at 160 pounds, he will most likely be the faster fighter in the ring. You know, at 160 pounds, when it comes to those guys, he'll most likely be the faster fighter. But this Miguel Cotto at 160 going against those bigger guys, you know, if he plans on staying there, let's say Cotto has about 2 or 3 fights left in, 2 or 3 more fights left in him. If he plans on staying there, it's like, well, how are you going to approach that division? Are you going in there, you know, going to be that, keep going for the left hook guy? The left hook is good, he should. But at the same time, at 160 pounds, if I match him up against a Martin Murray or Golovkin, he got to keep moving. You know, for some reason, I got Martin Murray giving him a very tough fight, almost similar to Austin Trout, even though Austin Trout was more mobile. So we don't know how Miguel Cotto can take power at 160 pounds. We don't know, you know, if his power carried up to 160 pounds. We know that he stopped Edwin Rodriguez. Come on, Edwin Rodriguez at 154. And then, you know, the disabled Sergio Martinez, where basically those knockdowns, in my personal opinion, but hey, go watch it for yourself. It's on HBO on demand. Those knockdowns was a huge result of Sergio Martinez's knee, you know, just keep locking up to the point where he could not move the same way he could. And that was clear and evident once you saw that Sergio Martinez was in the middle of the ring trying to square up with Miguel Cotto. So is Martin Murray going to get knocked out? Now, I've seen Martin Murray take some tough shots, but at the same time, you know, he hasn't been knocked out before. But if you think about all the other fighters Golovkin has fought that's never been knocked out, I completely understand where you're coming from. But for some reason, looking at Marco Antonio Rubio, looking at I forgot to pronounce his first name, but Adama, looking at Curtis Stevens, looking at Gabriel Rosado, and we already talked about Daniel Gill. I see Martin Murray is having the best chance out of those guys. Now, you will have to watch Martin Murray fights to understand. So, you know, honestly, I feel he has the better chance, you know, because he has more, even though it's somewhat, you know, predictable as far as his movement is concerned. And he's actually a pretty good boxer. Remember, he's not a knockout artist. He only got 12 knockouts. But he can go in there and actually box. You know, now, like I said, I'm kind of on the fence. Will he beat, you know, Golovkin? Honestly, I don't know. But it's all about how you react to when you take that first punch. And also, will he be beaten before he gets into the ring? So what we need to look for is, what's actually going to be good to look for is the next Gennady, not Golovkin, but Martin Murray interviews. We want to see what his psyche is like mentally. We want to see what he plans on doing, you know, or what we think he's going to plan on doing, you know, once he gets into the ring. You know, we got about 9 days left at this point in time. So what I'm going to do is I'm Two Street Controversy with RealCombatMedia.com. The fight's going to be taking place on HBO, most likely tape delay. It'll be something like 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if I'm correct. And then at night, HBO will show the fight along with another fight, I think. You know, but long story short, I cover every single major fight live for RealCombatMedia.com. I go to events, you know, I'll be attending Klitschko versus Jennings. If this fight was in the States, I would definitely be there, but Martin Murray can't come to the States. You know, that's a whole long story. T Street Controversy Live on Twitter, T Street Controversy Live on Instagram, T Street Controversy Live on Facebook. Please subscribe.